Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening right here from Horizon TV, based at Jamia Mosque. That is the largest mosque in the country, Jamia Mosque, Nairobi, who are the parent organization of Horizon TV. Welcome, and tonight we'll be talking about matters health speech, and joining me in the studio is Honorable Abdulalziz Farah, who is a commissioner at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. Of course, next to him, and very good panelists that you've seen before, and you've requested for him. That's why we've brought him here once again to discuss this matter, representing the legal angle and of course the religious angle. That is none other than Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, who will be joining us as well, as we will be discussing the whole topic of curbing hate speech. Gentlemen, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Faisal.
Thank you so much for joining us and making time for us this evening. And you can bear witness, based on the recent events that have been happening, talk of the Tanga rallies or the recent reggae rallies that have been taking place throughout the country. Political temperatures in the country have intensified. Things are heating up. Speeches are being thrown left, right, and center. But we're seeing nothing on the ground in terms of curbing some of these hate speeches that are actually fueling crowds. If history or trends is anything to go by, we've seen what happens there, what happened in Juja, we saw what happened in Kibra 2019, and we saw what happened in this Kobil petrol station, the area where the deputy president had visited the other day, and again skirmishes came. The skirmishes occurred at this point. So if history and trends is anything to go by, then these are very bad indicators for as far as 2022 campaigns and general elections are concerned. And all this is starting by a simple word of mouth that can be regarded as speech. Some of them might be right, some of them might be not so right. Moshimi, I'm going to start with you, because we have seen a couple of activities, a couple of leaders taking up to the stage, talking in a manner suggesting quote-unquote violence, suggesting quote-unquote aggressiveness, aggression, and fueling people towards a particular direction, a particular thinking. It begs the question, are we short of laws for as far as hate speech is concerned, or what is the criteria that is being used to arraign someone or bring someone to book for as far as hate speech is concerned?
Thank you very much, Faisal. We are not short of laws. Laws are plenty. Mm-hmm. We have the National Cohesion and Integration Act 2008. Mm-hmm. Section 13 of that act is robust and enough law to curb anybody to engage himself or herself in hate speech. Mm-hmm. When you go to our constitution, mm-hmm. I think in section 33(2), mm-hmm. It's also very clear that hate speech is a crime. It's not supposed to be in modern society. No. So we are not short of laws. Mm-hmm. Considering the supreme law, the constitution, plus the statutes. But what we are lacking is discipline, observance, observing the law and respecting the law, and you know, kind of adherence to the mm-hmm. law. That is what we are missing as a country. Mheshimiwa,
sorry to cut you short, but as as a commission, exactly, what are you doing? Because you say the laws are there, and initially, or a couple of times, we've seen you coming out, of course, through Francis Olekaparo or other commissioners, including yourself, coming out to the media and threatening the leaders, not only threatening them, but summoning some of them. We've seen letters, public letters that you're doing to them. Like, what exactly has been an impediment factor from you going out and getting these people who are perpetrating these speeches?
Well, the Commission has several strategies or several activities in place over the years since its inception, 2008. And first of all, there's a lot of public education and sensitization that the Commission is doing to the public and the actors, the players, or those who are supposed to be helping us cap the menace. Yeah. Including the media, including the police, the DPP, the DCI, the judiciary, all the players, IBC, registrar of political parties, and so on and so forth. No. We have also created what is called a multi-agency approach, whereby we saw that we cannot do the work alone. So we brought people who could help us cap this menace, including the Attorney General, and Inspector General of Police, the EACC, DCI, IEBC, Registrar of Political Parties, and the political parties themselves. We engage them so that we have a concerted effort to deal with this, and more particularly invoking Chapter 6, so that with all these agencies, we were even planning to bar some of them to run for office. So we have a lot of strategies in place. We have equipped over 2,000 police officers all over the country with gadgets to monitor and record hate mongers. And we've trained them adequately. We are also monitoring all the political rallies, social media, social gatherings, and so on and so forth. We are also putting in place what we call the shaming and faming list or wall that we want to invoke. And so generally there's a lot of activities going on. Yes. We are investigating so many files at the moment, and even some we've done with them. Now, the headache is when we have investigated and finished with the file goes to ODPP. That's where we end.
Mheshimiwa, I would really love to understand what exactly or how exactly you define hate speech as a commission, because from what we have seen around, from my personal perspective and interpretation, I can regard this as hate speech, because if you go by the dictionary definition, hate speech is something that's regarded to be abusive, threatening speech or writing that expresses prejudice against a particular group, especially on the basis of race, religion, or sexual orientation. But we're going to come to that. Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, I'll try to loop you in. And of course, as a stakeholder in this, and especially on the religious angle, you have been involved quite heavily on matters security, peace, and reconciliation for as far as this country is concerned, both as a lawyer and as a Muslim scholar. Are you satisfied with the way things are running for as far as curbing hate speech is concerned in this country?
Faisal, thank you very much. Number one, let me begin by saying this. As Mheshimiwa Abdulalziz said, we are not short of laws to deal with not only hate speech, but many other offenses in this country that threaten the cohesiveness of our people. One thing that people need to know, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 is very clear that we as the Kenyan community, we are diverse, we are not homogeneous, but the Constitution in the preamble says we recognize and we are proud of our diversity. So it's unity in diversity. And you know, when people are not homogeneous, they are different, maybe different races, different ethnicities and the rest, people belonging to different religions, then if you're not careful, then there could be a friction. And that's why we have a beautiful law, beginning from the Constitution, as Abdulaziz said, Then we have this Act 2008. Maybe it has some shortcomings, like any man-made laws would have shortcomings. So one thing, I'm satisfied with the legal framework and administrative framework that we have so far. I am not satisfied with the implementation. And when we talk about the implementation, I don't want us just to point an accusing finger to the Commission. You see, laws are not implemented on the grass or the trees or the animals in a country. It is on the people. So I think the problem here on the implementation is both on those who have been charged with the responsibility of implementing the law. And remember, you heard Mheshimiwa Abdulalziz saying, our job stops with summoning the person. But after that, we forward the file to the DPP. Okay?
Office of the Director of Public Prosecution.
So beyond that, they are not. Then the people themselves, are we ready as Kenyans to adhere to the laws? So we have beautiful laws. If only these laws were implemented, believe me, we'll take care of that problem. So I'm not satisfied with the implementation. I am satisfied with the law. Of course, it's not the best. There is still room for improvement. We can amend certain things like giving more powers to the Commission, more than they have now, maybe prosecutorial powers than they have now. But have we implemented what we have? We have not implemented fully. We want to see big people. We want to see heads rolling, Faisal.
In the spirit of taking responsibility, Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, you are a committee member of one of the largest mosques in the region, and actually the largest in the country, and considered to be a center point, a beacon for the Muslim community in this country, with a number of resources, including media, which is HorizonTV. What exactly have you done in your capacity as a leader to create awareness about this hate speech? Of course, over and above, we know that there is a commission, the NCIC, that is set up to do that. But again, as a leader, a Muslim leader, or a committee member of Jamia Mosque, what have you done in your capacity?
We are on record as Jamia Mosque. Some of our khutbahs actually are deliberately designed to address hate speech. Remember, and you can go to the record, they are all recorded in Horizon here. We had special khutbahs to educate our people on what Islam says about the use of the tongue. And we use the Quran and the Sunnah to tell people on the importance, the dangers of misusing the tongue. So what we do is to use Islam to sensitize our community, the Muslim community, on what Islam says about the use of the tongue, the use of speech, the use of anything that would create friction within community, respect for other people. That we have done, Faisal, and we continue to do. So our work is to sensitize our people so that they know. Actually, even without this law, the NCIC Act, we have our own laws internally, and what we do on the member of the mosque and any opportunity that we get, we talk a lot about what Islam says about that. It's enough to tell, like I'll just give you a very serious hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." Whoever believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the day of Qiyamah, you say what is good or you shut up. If you cannot speak well, you shut up. And actually, one of the Sahabas was told by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of the organs that will put many people in Nar Jahannam, na'udhu billahi min dhalik, it is the tongue, the use of the tongue. It is the tongue that lies. It is the tongue that spreads fitna. Actually, we are told fitna is worse than even killing. It's better to kill a person than spread fitna. So this is what we are doing at our level. Of course, we appreciate we are the largest mosque, east and central of Africa. Alhamdulillah, so this is what we are doing.
Nice. Thanks so much, Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome. Of course, I'm going to go to Mheshimiwa Honorable Abdulalziz, but again, my Shakombo is telling me at exactly that 4 minutes past 7, we need to pay some bills. That is, we need to show some advertisement. But again, when you come back, please do not touch that dial, because Mheshimiwa Abdulalziz, I personally would really love to know exactly how they define hate speech as, at the policy level, the NCIC, and what are some of the red flags that people should look up to? Yes, we do appreciate the fact that there are agents who are set outside there to record some of these statements that are perceived to be hate speech, but we are 57 million Kenyans outside here. So how would we, you back at home as a viewer, take part in this, in putting people to book for as far as hate speech is concerned? This and much more after the break. Please do not go away.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Enyi mlioamini, munapoitwa kuhudhuria swala ya Ijumaa, fanyeni haraka kuikimbilia, muache biashara zenu, hilo ni bora ikiwa mwelewa.
Isikilizeni kwa umakinifu khutba ya Ijumaa
ili uzidi kujenga imani yako na kupata faida nyingi ya siku hii.
Coming to you every Friday from Jamia Mosque, Nairobi.
Live on HorizonTV.
Kuna faida gani twapata tukimjua Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
nabii mwenye ushawishi mkubwa duniani?
Tukizikwa tukitiwa kaburini, tutaulizwa haya maswali matatu: man rabbuk, ma dinuk, man nabiyuk.
Sheikh Jamaluddin anakupa simulizi.
Huwezi kumpenda mtu usiyemjua
na kutambua sunna zake,
lakini ukimjua na ukimtambua Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mapenzi yako yatazidi.
Ufahamu Rasulullah, familia na maswahaba wake. Tazama sira ya Mtume kila Jumatatu saa 1 jioni kwenye Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back and thank you so much for keeping it live, Real Talk, right here on Horizon TV. And we are talking about matters curbing hate speech. Of course, joining me in studio are two great, iconic gentlemen that are role models to millions of young men and women outside there back at home. And we are honored and privileged to have them in studio. That is Honorable Abdulalziz Ali Farah, who is a commissioner at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, and of course, Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome. Thank you so much once again, gentlemen, for making time for us. Now, before the break, we were talking about how you interpret exactly hate speech, Mheshimiwa Abdulalziz, and you said that you have agents outside there who you've also invested in recording gadgets that they can pick what might be presumed as hate speech, and then you can take action from that. So the question that I would want to know, and I'm sure many Kenyans back at home, many viewers would want to know, exactly how do you interpret hate speech? How do you define hate speech for that matter? That is one. Entangled or integrated with that question is, what are some of the red flags? What are some of the elements that make up the hate speech? What are some of the words that when they come out, then they may be constitute or perceived to be hate speech? So that when the viewers back at home get to hear some of these things, then they know where to go to. Mheshimiwa.
Thank you very much, Faisal. The definition of hate speech is a simple one: the use of threatening, abusive, or insulting words or behavior or displaying of any written material or performs a play, audiovisual display, or even directs a program, or even distributes pamphlets or leaflets that stirs up ethnic hatred. The catchword is ethnic hatred, or is likely to stir up ethnic hatred. That is what is called hate speech. And I will give you an example. Mm-hmm. If I say the people called so and so, a community name, let's say community Y, should not continue living in Kisumu, for example, because they are this and this. That is hate speech. But if I say Faisal is not a good performer, so we should not elect him, that's not hate speech.
Okay.
So the catchword is, what you say, what you write, what you distribute, what you display must amount to, you know, creating ethnic hatred, you know, on the basis of ethnicity, on the basis of religion, on the basis of color, on the, you know, you are kind of putting some people on the wall, telling them that this community is bad. And that now creates conflict, because there's that hatred that is being developed. But we have to be very cautious also. Some individuals are also worshipped, to say, they are idols.
Yes.
And
demigods.
Yes, and when you mention them badly, you might indirectly stir, you know, the community where he comes from. That is a disclaimer. Otherwise, it is that kind of stirring ethnic hatred within the community. That is the definition. Now the red flags.
Before we go to the red flag, Mr. Jamia, just a question, a follow-up question on that. Yes, we're going to answer the red flag question, but again, just want to understand one thing, because you've mentioned about religion, you've mentioned about sex orientation, you've mentioned about ethnic. Does class qualify as well, like social classes? Because we have seen recently the spa in the political space, what is regarded as the new political dispensation in the country is the aspect of class wars. That's the new dynamic.
Yeah, it has an effect. We are analyzing it. And that dichotomy is a recipe for conflict. Remember, Kenya has a lot of underlying issues. Historically, we have structural problems, you know, things that are there, problems that we're sitting on, time bomb like, and a small trigger can awaken them. You know, when we are discussing Corona, we hear people who have underlying issues, who are more vulnerable than others. So Kenya has underlying issues: social, economic, marginalization, land issues, conflict issues that were not resolved, massacres that were not, you know, resolved. People are living in pain. It only needs a very careless person to say something before we are in flames. And that's why we went to war in 2007, 2008.
Okay.
Rwanda also went to war and killed each other because of hate speech. And so we are, you know, pregnant with issues, and the mention of a word can trigger a conflict in Kenya. So we have to be cautious when we are talking about issues in Kenya.
Interesting. Thank you. Now, you are talking about the red flags. What are some of those elements that can be...
Now, the red flags are that our campaign system in Kenya is full of ethnic issues. It is tribalistic. And so that cannot be driven by the politicians until they use hate speech for them to stir up their community against another community. They have to use bad language. And so that red flag already started with the BBI process, you know. It has already started. We are seeing the red flags. That's why we have put in place what we are calling the roadmap to peaceful election 2022, what we are calling elections bill and norma 2022. So we are seeing several red flags, people talking bad, you know, putting the country, them against us, you know. That kind of red flags are there, and we are prepared for it.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, now just changing the gears and moving towards solutions. We know that skirmishes are always started by, for lack of a better word, selfish individuals, if not leaders. They start the skirmishes for their own interest. They know what they benefit most. And the people on the lowest end who are to implement some of these strategies are the jobless, passionate young men and women outside there on the streets. For as far as that is concerned, Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, over and above the da'wah that you give through the Member and HorizonTV, have you tried maybe as leaders, maybe to try and do more of community outreach, community sensitization, and that maybe collaborate with the NCIC to some extent and work around some stuff?
Yeah, of course, besides the sermons that we give on the mosques, which of course will only reach out to the congregations that come to the mosques. We have outreach programs of doing civic education, educating the masses on the laws. You know, one of the biggest problems that we have in this country, people are not educated on some of these things. We just assume people know that the laws are there. I want to believe there are many people out there who don't know that we have a law like this, and they don't know, they might take it for granted that what is considered as hate speech is normal to them. So sensitization of the people on what can trigger, because remember, as you are told by the commissioner here, there was a mischief that we wanted to address, and that's why we came up with this law. But the question is this: how many people out there are aware of that? So sensitization. The other thing that we keep on doing, and I pray that many other people will continue doing that, and especially now that we are getting closer and closer to this very tribal, you know, our politics are tribal driven, and sometimes I have to speak against Abdulaziz's community for me to get votes. That if you allow a person from a certain community to take over, we are finished, without mentioning communities. People know themselves. You know, this kind of thing. But the question is this, you know, Faisal, it is not the politician who goes to burn the houses of the other. It is not the politician that throws the stones there. Number one, it is the youth like you that we have to sensitize so that they do not allow themselves to be misused. So number one, we tell Kenyans, this is your brother, regardless of where they come from. And when you start fighting each other, it is you who is hurting your neighbor here. The big guys up there, they're called, I hear these days they're being called the big boys. So the big boys and girls there, they're not the ones throwing stones. Even when tear gas is being thrown, the police officers are not going to throw tear gas at these guys with bodyguards and those big fuel guzzlers and the rest. So sensitizing the youth, don't allow yourself to be misused by these people. Okay, number one. Number two, sensitizing everybody, even parents. Don't allow your children to be misused out there. If these big boys want people to throw stones, can they send their own children? And believe me, if we are able to take care of our youth, make sure that they are not misused, half the problem is solved. Then we need to educate our politicians. And you know the best way to educate them. And now I want to turn to Abdulalziz here. Put a few of them behind the bar. Let us see heads rolling, heads of big people. Abdulalziz, we want to see heads rolling of some of the big guys. Because this is an independent commission, remember?
Yes. It's supposed to be an independent commission.
It is an independent commission.
It is an independent?
It is here.
Yes, yes. It's an independent commission.
Constitutional commission.
And we can put behind bars anybody.
Yes.
Doesn't matter who he is.
So how many have you put in behind bars so far?
There are some who are convicted, and several were, you know.
What's the number? What's the percentage?
The percentage is small. Let me say the law is too lenient for these guys. When you read the act, it says 1 million or 5 years imprisonment or both. But again, the courts have got very lenient bond terms. And you know what happens in our judiciary. So these guys are rarely put in. They will maneuver their way out.
Or pay the million.
Yes, or pay the million and
go out and continue with the head speech and continue inciting others.
And then, yes, they get energized more. We also have problems with the witnesses. They're intimidated by these big guys and they pull out of the cases, or they are compromised, they are interfered with. We also have problems on the other side on the witnesses who ask for big things like protection. So it's not easy, it's not a walk in the park to have so many guys' heads rolling around. But the Commission, within its mandate, is trying very hard so that, as I told you before, we are even planning to bar them from office.
Very good.
We want to give the president, next election, after the elections, we want to give him a list of people whom he cannot appoint to high offices. Okay?
Wow.
When parties are doing their preliminaries nominations, we want to give them a list that these people should not get your tickets.
And the list is going to be made public?
Yes, it will be in the papers. We will make it public. And we're working with anti-corruption, we're working with political parties, IBC, DCI, NIS, and everybody, so that we put our things concrete and defendable.
I would really love to see how that's going to work out. Of course, because we have the Chapter 6 of the Constitution that the EACC came out guns blazing, wanting to implement it and coming up with some strict, stringent measures to try and see it to fruition. But I'm hopeful. I'm a hopeful Kenyan and I'm an optimist. I really want to see that happening. And inshallah, of course, anything we can do to do that for the sake of our country, we would not mind. Now, Mheshimiwa and Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, of course, starting with Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, our senior in the studio. Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, you've spoken about civic education, you've spoken about what you can do or what you have done. What about our viewers back at home? What can they do at their capacity as viewers, as citizens of this great nation, of this country? Because we always put other people to task for getting ourselves. We always up in arms against other people, saying that it is mandated constitutionally and all that.
Yes.
Again, we're forgetting about ourselves. So the viewers back at home.
Message, Faisal, you've just taken it from my mouth. Begin with yourselves. So my message is this: whoever is viewing this, you who is viewing this program now, can you begin with yourself? Can you control your tongue? Before you open your mouth, think first. What will be the effect of what I'm going to say to the relationship between me and my neighbor? Would I love the person next to me to tell me what I'm telling them? And it's a very clear message. Love, you're not a true believer until you love for others what you love for yourself. So you begin with yourselves, begin with your children, and then unfortunately now, the role models, we don't have very good role models. So can you, the viewer, can you be a role model to the younger people, the children around you? Sometimes we even have hate speech in the houses. Can we begin in our families? Can you stop hate speech from our houses, then go outside the neighbors and the society at large? So each person play their role. And the religious leaders, can you use the members not only to prepare people to go to Jannah, can you prepare them to live nicely in this world? That's why we say, Rabbana atina fi dunya hasanat wa fil akhirati hasanat. So can you make this world a better place by making sure there is no hate speech? So every opportunity that we get in the family, in the mosque, in our workplace, can we preach that we want peaceful coexistence? There is enough space for all of us, there is enough, everything is enough, there's enough resources. You don't need to talk bad about a certain ethnic community for you to get what you want. There is enough for you and them, and we need each other. And no community is better than the others. The problem again is the feeling of entitlement of certain communities as opposed to the others. Yani kuna wenye inchi na wana inchi. This one kwanza inafaa iondoke. And we have the beautiful teachings in Surah Al-Hujurat. Inna akramakum inda Allahi atqakum. The best amongst you is the most God-fearing. Not the Somalikum, the Somali one, the Kikuyu, the Maasai, and the rest. So we need to preach all this, and inshallah there will be what you call peaceful coexistence. And again, we also give examples. Like me when I'm speaking, I like telling them the example Mheshimiwa mentioned here, Rwanda. Through some radio stations, media, the media is so powerful, Faisal.
Yeah.
1 million people went down. And imagine how many ethnic communities? Two. How many are we? 45 plus. You can imagine.
With others who are not listed.
You can imagine. So can it begin with you, Faisal, me, our Honorable Commissioner here, in our families and outside?
Thank you. Honorable Abdulalziz, our Honorable Commissioner, Mheshimiwa, you're speaking about you having agents on the ground to record that. And of course, again, you've mentioned some red flags that are there. But I assume, again, the way in context to what Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome said, that hate speech is everywhere, including in our houses. So spaces of influence are quite much. I assume there may be spaces that you may not have reached in terms of putting agents, and maybe a citizen or someone else may be there. In case of such a scenario, someone already knows the red flag or what to look out to. Where does he report? Where does he go to? And is witness protection guaranteed?
I will begin with the last one. Witness protection is guaranteed, but it's expensive. And the Commission might not be well resourced to do so much about witness protection, but it is there. Now, the outreach now. We have a toll-free number. We have our website. We have our telephone numbers. We have our all the contact is there. What we are trying to do, picking up from where Sheikh had left, is that first of all, Kenyans must know that our diversity is our strength. That must go and sink into their head. That our diversity is our strength. It is not our weakness. It should not be used for our weakness. And we as a commission, the new commission now, we are in a year plus in office. The new strategy we're using is we are reaching out to everybody. We have seen that we cannot do this job alone. We are coming to Jamia Mosque, we are coming to SUPCAM, we are coming to NCIC, we are coming to the business community, the bodies, the business bodies like KEPSA. We are even coming to multinational, big companies like Safaricom, Total, because when chaos occurs, they suffer. It is their business that are shut or destroyed. So we are coming to all the people in Kenya to come and play with us so that we curb this menace and this nonsense once and for all, so that this country does not go into war again. So for easy reach, we have recently passed as a policy that we will have 10 regional offices, 2 in Rift Valley and 1 in each of the other regions in Kenya. So that will be our contact places, and people will be able to interact with the Commission, and there will be prompt response to issues like conflict, issues to do with hate speech, issues to do with research, and so on and so forth. So we have a robust plan, including a communication policy that we will very soon launch, and a new strategic plan that we will very soon launch. So we want to tighten the notes, all the corners of this hate speech, so that these guys are cornered. So there's a robust program to do this work for the Commission.
Wow. Thank you so much.
And remember, Kenyans are peaceful. I will give you another catchword, like I gave you another one when I was here.
Yeah.
Kenyans are peace-loving. They are good neighbors. They like one another until a politician comes to them.
Interest comes in.
Until a politician comes to them and tells them something. Where Sheikh Ibrahim comes from, Kajiado, it is cosmopolitan. They are Kikuyus, they are Kambas, they are Somalis, they are Maasais, they are everybody. They live peaceful. They have no problem. Let a politician come and tell them that they should go. That's where the problem is. So Kenyans are peaceful until a politician comes.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. That is very, 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 very powerful. Sheikh Ibrahim Lethome, your parting shot, inshallah, as you just do the final round of the parting shot. And then
my parting shot is this. You see, we should not live at the mercy of the politicians. We should not be like toys or puppets being played about by the politicians.
No.
So we should be wiser than the politicians. Let them come. They have their vested interest. Our interest is to live peacefully with each other. That is our interest. So my message out there is that love your neighbor regardless of their color, regardless of their race or their ethnicity. You did not apply to be the ethnicity that you are. Okay? It's God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who created you. It's not an accident. It's not an accident that I'm a Maasai. It is a plan of Allah. And Abdulalziz did not choose to be a Murule, a Somali Murule. He just found himself there. So love your neighbor. Whoever is your neighbor, stay with them. The country is big enough for us, and Allah intended us to live together. And we should tell the politicians we are not going to be used. And you'll see, they are not the ones who throw stones. It is our children who throw stones. So if we tell them
Sheikh,
no,
you know, their children are not in the street.
They're very good. They're in schools abroad.
Yes.
Yeah. So we just need to be wiser than the politician. And I'm happy, you know, he's a retired politician. He tested that's why he's honorable. He was once the MP for Mandela.
Yes.
So we are hearing it from the horse's mouth.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Mheshimiwa, just parting shot, 60 seconds, please.
Well, I want to call upon all Kenyans to be wiser, as the Sheikh has said, and rise above the incitement of politicians, the incitement of crooks in this country. Because a simple utterance, a simple sentence can bring this country down, as it did in 2007, as it did in Rwanda. People are taking hate speech as a simple thing. It isn't. It is a very dangerous thing for a country like Kenya. We have so many tribes, so many languages, even religions. And if somebody invokes our differences with the underlying issues that we have, it's going to be very risky. So Kenyans should live peacefully together as brothers and sisters, so that we are one nation, one people, and we have only one destination.
Thank you so much, my beloved guests this evening. Thank you so much once again. Thank you a million times for making time for us. And of course, your very insightful, amazing contributions to the program. Just to give a genesis of this show and why it happened today. My producer tonight and director, Mohammed Shakombo, actually is the one who came up with this after attending or taking part in a course. He thought that this is an important matter, and of course, given the context and the situation that we are in right now as a country, not farther from what Mheshimiwa Honorable Abdulalziz said. We are pregnant of key issues. Right, and I believe maybe that's one of the reasons as to why the TJRC report is not as spread as much, because maybe it might spark just yet another blowout in this country. So he saw it fit and really helped in the planning of this particular program. And a big thank you to you, Mohammed Shakombo. To the viewers back at home, I hope you've seen or you've learned the definition of hate speech. You know the red flags, you know where to go to, who to report to, and who to report when they say what. It is our responsibility. As I always say, as you are pointing a finger, remember there are 3 other fingers pointing back at you, meaning that you equally have a responsibility. Thank you so much, Mohammed Shakombo, for this topic. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, our viewers, for keeping it live. Real Talk. See you next week, same place, same time, as we'll be looking at another topic. I've been your host, Faisal, Kassim, and this has been the live Real Talk. Assalamu alaikum. Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
Na sasa mafuta ya nyota yanakuja na mwonekano mpya. Vile nyota inavyong'aa angani, ng'arisha mapishi yako na mafuta ya nyota. Ni mafuta halisi yenye afya tele bila lehemu, yani cholesterol. Ina harufu nzuri ya kuvutia na ladha ya aina yake. Kwa mapishi bora, tumia mafuta ya nyota. Furahia vyakula vitamu na familia yako bila kuwasahau majirani. Nyota, your healthy choice.
Unapokwenda kulala, Allahumma bismika amutu wa ahya. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, kwa jina lako